Welcome students. This session is for BA second year English Literature paper first, that is Poetry and Drama. And in this session, we'll continue with this poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. Before we continue with the poem, let's have a recap of what this poem is about. This poem is concerned primarily with the irregular musings of the narrator. So the thoughts of the narrator over here are quite irregular. It can be difficult to interpret. So because it is quite fragmented, so it becomes really difficult for us as readers to interpret this poem. Lawrence Perrin wrote, "The poem presents the apparently random thoughts going through a person's head with a certain time interval in which the transitional links are psychological rather than logical." So this thinker says that just as human thoughts are not logical and they are not sequenced, in the same manner, this poem presents the random thoughts of this character, and we see that they are more of psychological and there is hardly any logical connection. So there is a lot of fragmentation in the poem, which makes it difficult to interpret. This stylistic choice makes it difficult to determine exactly what is literal and what is symbolic. So because T.S. Eliot chooses to write in this form, in fragmented form, so it becomes really difficult for us as readers to interpret the literal meaning of this poem and to locate where symbolism is used. On the surface, the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock relays the thoughts of sexually frustrated middle-aged man who wants to say something but is afraid to do so and ultimately does not. So the poem is about this middle-aged man named Alfred Prufrock, and he's so much frustrated in his life and he wants to say something, and we see that he's quite afraid to say whatever he wishes to say. And finally, we as readers, we are waiting for him to express what he wishes to say, but ultimately we find in the poem that he does not do that. The dispute, however, lies in to whom Prufrock is speaking. And this is also quite debatable, that Prufrock is speaking to whom? Is he speaking to some woman, or he's speaking to us as readers, or whether he's actually going anywhere, what he wants to say, and what is the various images refer. So all these things are quite cannot be determined by the readers. And this fragmentation, that what is he speaking or where is he going and what these images refer to, only readers try to interpret in their own manner. Otherwise, it is not quite explicitly stated in the poem. Now let's continue with the text of the poem. In the room, the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. These lines are repeatedly used in the poem, the women coming and going inside a room, and they're talking of that famous Italian painter Michelangelo of Renaissance time. Now, this image shows that somewhere the narrator, he's feeling quite afraid. He wants to enter the room and he wants to have physical contact with these women, but somewhere he's in that state of self-pity. So he feels afraid and weak to enter that room. And this aspect of narrator can be easily compared to the image of cat, which T.S. Eliot gives in the following lines. This cat can be compared to the yellow fog that he speaks of, because here this yellow fog which he's going to talk about is personified as cat. Basically, T.S. Eliot was a lover of cats, but here the image of cat which he's going to give you is quite of an undignified cat. The cat also appears quite weak and unable to enter the house as narrator is. So he says, the yellow fog that rubs its back upon the window panes, the yellow smoke that rubs its muscle on the window panes, just like cat, this yellow fog, he's rubbing its muscle on the window panes and it's rubbing its back on the window panes, but is not able to enter the room. In the same manner, as narrator is not able to enter the room of the women coming and going, in talking of Michelangelo, licked its tongue into the corners of the evening, lingered upon the pools that stand in drains. So he continues with that image of a cat which is unable and afraid to enter the house. Let fall upon its back the soot that falls from chimneys, slipped by the terrace, made a sudden leap, and seeing that it was a soft October night, curled once about the house and fell asleep. So this stanza is again about cat and its movement. This cat on its back, the soot from the chimney falls, and it slips by the terrace and leaps, and then as it is soft October night, we can see that this cat gets curled about the house and fell asleep. The image of this cat can be quite well related to that of the narrator. Just as this cat is unable to enter the house, in the same manner, this character is quite weak and hesitant to enter this room where women are coming and going and talking of Michelangelo. So this image somewhere shows that narrator is in quite unconfrontational mood, and he has that sense of fear in him, and he has that social anxiety. That's why he does not enter the room where women are coming and going. And indeed, there will be time for the yellow smoke that slides along the street, rubbing its back upon the window panes. There will be time, there will be time to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. The image of cat get mixed up with that of narrator, and he here again talks about that cat rubbing its back upon the window panes, and this again shows that hesitance on the part of narrator. He wants to enter that room, but he is not able to because he's afraid. And because of his anxiety, because of his social anxiety, he somewhere pushes this important desire of entering that room for the future. And he says that there will be time, to prepare a face to meet the faces that you meet. So because of this hesitation, he thinks that there is plenty of time to do important things, and he wants to prepare himself before plunging himself into any moment of crisis. There will be time to murder and create, and time for all the works and days of hands that lift and drop a question on your plate. Time for you and time for me, and time yet for 100 indecisions and for 100 visions and revisions before the taking of toast and tea. So when we look at these lines by narrator, we come to know that somewhere he's pushing that important question that he has in his mind. And as we have seen that right in the beginning of the poem, he asks the readers, us as readers, that he's taking us somewhere. But slowly we see that he's not taking us anywhere. Rather, he's playing in his own mind. And there's a lot of anxiety and tension in his mind because he is quite uncertain about the results. This makes him in absolutely unconfrontational mood, and because of this hesitation, he pushes this important work in future. So he uses this phrase again and again, that there will be time for you and me, and there will be time for 100 indecisions, and he wants to again revise whatever he is planning to do. All the things that he has in his mind, his plans, his place where he wants to go, the question that he wants to ask, all this remains unrevealed before the readers. And what we find over here is about his pointless existence and his pushing of the matter for the future, towards the future, because he thinks that there's plenty of time in future to do the important things. Now let's analyze the poem up till now. The intended audience is not evident. So as I said, that the audience is not clear. whether this poem is addressed to someone or to himself or to us as readers. Some believe that Prufrock is talking to another person or directly to the reader, while others believe Prufrock's monologue is internal. So there is a possibility of any among these. It can be seen that you and I of the first line are divided parts of Prufrock's own nature, or maybe he's talking to himself only, while it may suggest that you and I refers to the relationship between dilemma of the character and the author. And one can also feel that maybe this is the dilemma of writer, that is Eliot, and the character. Similarly, critics dispute whether Prufrock is going somewhere during the course of the poem, because we don't know where he is going. In the first half of the poem, Prufrock uses various outdoor images: the sky, the streets, the cheap restaurants, the hotel, fog, and talks about how there will be time for various things before taking off a toast and tea, and time to turn back and descend the stair. This has led many to believe that Prufrock is on his way to an afternoon tea where he's preparing to ask this overwhelming question. So as we see that he talks about evening toast and tea, so this gives us a hint that maybe Prufrock is going somewhere, and it is this place when he's going to ask that overwhelming question of his. Others, however, believe that Prufrock is not physically going anywhere, but rather is playing through in his mind. And the other people, the other readers, they believe that maybe he is not going anywhere, rather he's playing through this in his mind. So what exactly is he doing? This poem represents that fragmentation, that illogical connection where we as readers are trying to drive some meaning out of it. We'll continue this poem in my next session. Thank you.